Okay, let me.
Okay.
Okay,
Dear
it's
Tibu,
not sharing. It's not sharing.
oh, we can see it on screen, miss. So we are live now, Miss
Oh,
Tibu.
okay.
You can
Sorry,
start the
Okay, let me
I
just.
hi, good morning. I just wanted to share my screen just to make sure that everybody can see it. I need to step away for a few minutes. Can everybody see my screen?
Miss Melissa, when it's your turn, because you're third speaker, we will let you know
Yes,
that you
I'm
can share
third.
your screen then. Yeah,
I need
because
to step
now
away
it's
for a few minutes.
yes, please stop your sharing screen. Miss Chibi will
Okay.
go first, and then we will call you, and then you can share it. Dear
Okay,
Chibu,
can
we are
you
live.
see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
No, we cannot, Miss, but Miss Doha is sharing your presentation. Okay.
All right, sure. All right.
Okay. Dear Chibu, please start your speech.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
ma'am.
All
Good
right.
morning, good afternoon.
It's your call center.
Good evening. Please, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
my dear, I
Ms.
can hear
Tabo,
you.
you're audible. You can proceed.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone joining us from all around the world. It is with deep respect and shared commitment to women's well-being that we welcome you to the Women's Health and Hygiene Awareness Session, organized by the Women Ascension as part of our community outreach initiative for fellows working in the field of women's health and hygiene. Today marks the beginning of an important new series, starting with the powerful theme, Beyond Silence, community conversation on menstruation. We are delighted to have you with us for this meaningful discussion as we work together to break barriers, challenge stigma, and create open, inclusive spaces for dialogue on menstrual health. In many communities, menstruation remains surrounded by silence, misinformation, and cultural taboos. Limited education and access to affordable menstrual products often lead to exclusion and health challenge for women and girls. Globally, around 5 million menstruating women and girls still lack adequate access to menstrual hygiene products and safe facilities. Consequently, this affects their physical health, self-esteem, education, and social participation. The Women's Health and Hygiene session aims to promote menstrual equity and uphold women's dignity through community engagement and open dialogue. By empowering participants with knowledge, tools, and sustainable solutions, the initiative seeks to challenge stigma and build healthier and more inclusive communities where every woman and girl can manage her menstrual health with confidence. This effort also supports the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, including Goal 3, Goal 4, Sustainable Goal 5, and 10. I am Tebo Mildred Endam, a public health professional and educator, a Women Ascension 1 Million Leadership Community Outreach Fellow. I also serve as the founder and executive director of Beta Health for All Cameroon. It's an honor to serve as your first moderator for today's panel discussion. For those joining us for the first time, let me briefly introduce our organization to you. The Women Ascension is a global nonprofit dedicated to empowering individuals, especially women, through leadership development, community impact, and sustainable growth. Operating across 5 continents, over 90 countries, the organization aligns its mission with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. One of its leading initiatives, the 1 Million Leadership Program 2030, which is a visionary global effort aiming to empower 1 million women worldwide by 2030 by enhancing leadership, improving quality of life, and promoting economic empowerment. The 1 million leadership program also has the following characteristics. Fellows rotate through departments, gaining hands-on experience in advocacy, digital literacy, policy, and storytelling. The curriculum is closely aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, especially gender equality, education, climate resilience, and peace. Mentorship and community support through a global network of change makers. This program equips participants not with just success, but with the tools to recognize opportunities, the courage to act, and the wisdom to serve. Now about the Women Ascension Community Outreach. This department is where leadership meets lived experience. It serves as a collaborative space for fellows to co-create initiatives that address real community needs, such as combating gender-based violence, promoting health equity, or amplifying local voices through storytelling. Guided by passionate coordinators, that is Dr. Mahim Amjad, Ms. Damina, Ms. Zoha, and Ms. Kanvi. The program is grounded in trust, dialogue, and cultural sensitivity. It is also listening deeply, building together, and honoring the wisdom within communities. Together, these programs remind us of a single truth. Leadership is not just holding the title. Rather, it's about taking responsibility. At Women Ascension, every fellow is encouraged to lead with humility, learn with openness, and serve with purpose. Now, I would like to introduce to you the president of the Women Ascension. By person, Dr. Mahim Amjad. Dr. Mahim is an internationally recognized entrepreneur, educator, and humanitarian whose work bridges academia, policy reform, and social impact. She has been honored as Best Global Young Leader and the first woman in her region to earn a PhD in entrepreneurship. As a serial entrepreneur, Dr. Mahim has founded and led ventures across 5 continents. She currently serves as a CEO of Entrepreneurs Ecole and chairperson of Trade Turner, both supporting employment, innovation, and charitable causes. She is also deeply involved in education and humanitarian leadership and contributes regularly as a columnist on entrepreneurship, pluralism, and global development. Under her leadership, Women Ascension has expanded to more than 134 countries, aligning its mission with all 17 United Nations Development Goals. The organization focuses on peace, justice, climate action, trauma-informed leadership, and environmental sustainability. Her guiding philosophy is simple yet powerful: empowered by empower. With this, I warmly welcome or invite Dr. Mahim to begin today's session as we come together to advance women's health and hygiene, uniting voices and leaders for prevention, empowerment, and holistic well-being. Please, ma'am, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tebo. Since ma'am is not feeling well, she has conveyed her message with deep regards for the speakers to join our initiative for sharing their valuable knowledge on this unrecognized and unaware topic. So you can proceed with the same.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. So about today's discussion, Beyond Silence, Community Conversation on Menstrual Hygiene. Today's panel discussion, Beyond Silence, Community Discussion on Menstrual Hygiene. I bring to you, brings us together in line of distinguished experts who offer valuable insight on this important topic. Please, a minute, please, a minute.
Ms. Tebo,
Just
we
a
can't
minute,
hear.
please. Okay. I'm sorry for the interruption. Okay, now I would like to introduce to you our first speaker of a panel discussion, Ms. Chikoma, who will speak on creating positive spaces. She is from Zimbabwe and a social entrepreneur, a founder and the director of the Naga Trust, which is a women-led organization producing sustainable product care for girls in low-income countries or areas. Her work has been recognized globally, including the United Nations Development Programme, Zimbabwe, that was in 2024, and is seen in the annual report. Please, Madam Chipo, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to first start by thanking you for the opportunity, Women Ascension, for the opportunity to be part of the panel discussion. As the moderator has alluded, I'm Ms. Chipo Chikomo. I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm a social entrepreneur and I'm in the menstrual hygiene space. And I'm so glad to be in this panel to shed more light about this topic that we often do not talk about. So before I delve deeper into my slides, I just want you to imagine, I know if you're a woman, you've already experienced this. Your period starts unexpectedly. Maybe you're at work, maybe you're at school. And usually it's those days where you didn't carry your pad or your tampon. I remember a time when I was 16 years old. I was writing my very first national examination, and the paper was an English paper. I was very good at English, and I knew that, you know what, this is it. I'm going to get an A. But maybe it was because of the hormones, the stress of just preparing for that exam. My period just started when I was just getting ready. And guess what? All of my friends didn't have anything for me to use. I tried to go to the school tuck shop. It was still closed because it was before 8 a.m. I just managed to grab some scrap of paper, which was what was found at the school anyway. So fast forward, I sat for that exam for about 2 hours using pieces of paper to manage my flow. So you can imagine, even if you were so good in that course, you might not come out well. So these incidences, they happen quite often. It wasn't the first time, and it was definitely not the last time. It is because, ladies and gentlemen, we do not have period positive workplaces or spaces. So this is why supporting menstrual health and gender equity in the workplace matters. You can go to the next slide. Globally, there are about 2 billion people who are of reproductive age. This is according to the UNICEF reports. You can go to the next slide. So period poverty is defined as lack of access to menstrual products, hygiene facilities, waste management, and education. This is according to the UN Women 2021. So many people just think if I don't have a menstrual product that I can access at that time, or if I have a product, then I'm not suffering from period poverty. But it is holistic, it is encompassing, it includes waste management. I might have the products to use, I might not have a means to dispose of them. I might have the products to use, I might not have facilities to change, or there might not be water. So globally, there are about 500 million women and girls who do not have what they need to manage their menstruation. And with the 700 million that can actually afford, often find themselves in situations where they cannot access them. Maybe you're traveling, you're at an airport, maybe you're at a train. Yes, you can afford, but when you need it at that particular time, you often cannot get the products that you need. So 45% of female employees that were surveyed, they feared menstrual leakage at work. It's still during working hours at the moment, and it is one of the fears that many women have. And 8 out of 10 that they surveyed started their period unexpectedly without products. And with 96% of these women having to leave immediately to find the products. And only 3% felt their employees did enough to support the people who menstruate at the work. Just a measly 3%. Next slide, please. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. So you might think that, well, usually this is what happens for some of us who are in Africa. We often think that, well, maybe when you're in Dubai or in UK or in America, this is not a challenge. People have access to products wherever they can have them. But it's not the case because about 31% of UK women working have used makeshift materials like toilet paper, pieces of fabric to manage their periods at work. This is according to a survey which was done by WaterAid. So period poverty is not confined to a region or a space. So there is now a growing body of research that shows that providing period products actually boosts productivity. Imagine you're going maybe to a seminar, and when you're going to the ablution block, you find their period products. It actually boosts productivity, it improves talent and talent attraction and retention. Imagine if you are at a workplace where they provide you with all your menstrual cares whenever you need them at the work. And it obviously reduces absenteeism, increased collaboration, and actually yielded, if you didn't know, a 2.1 ratio on investment. So by just investing in menstrual products, you are actually increasing your rate of investment, which is what businesses actually love. And it also supported inclusive workplaces. So if you want your workplace or whether it's a school to be inclusive, this is one of the things that we need to do. Next slide, please. Okay, so you might be wondering, okay, what is it what do I need to become a period positive workplace? Maybe you might think it's something far-fetched. It's not. because it just means you are providing period products which are accessible at your workplace, and you also ensure that they are wash facilities, including running water, which in Zimbabwe, many times we don't have access to that one. And you can notify your employees, if it's students, that these are some of the benefits that you have at this place. This is where you can access the products. You can go to the next slide. Okay, we have shared some of the benefits, but then the long-term impact of being period positive is it means that you're prioritizing menstrual health. You are also, on the long term, eliminating menstrual stigma, because menstruation is not a topic that we often talk about. So imagine if your CEO, maybe who's male, is part of this. That means that they are eliminating menstrual stigma. It's something that you can easily talk about. You're also promoting gender equality, and you're also building a supportive workplace. So just one intervention will solve a lot and will ensure that we achieve the acceleration of SDGs. The next slide, please. Okay. And you might be wondering what the employees are saying. So already, globally, people are implementing this initiative, and 80% of period positive workplace employees agreed that managing menstruation was easy after their workplace became period positive, compared to only 15% before. And only 93% of the employees say that their workplace um, becoming certified gave them peace of mind around unexpected periods. Maybe you're going for a presentation like what I'm doing right now, and you find that in the toilets, there are products for you to use. Next slide, please. Okay. So one of the testimonials from one employee from India, I love India. I'm always traveling there. So, well, I'm so inclined to get a testimony from there. So one day I unexpectedly started my period while at work and realized I didn't have any menstrual products with me. In the past, this situation would have been incredibly stressful and embarrassing. But thanks to the organization's new approach, I was relieved to find free menstrual products readily available in the restroom. It was such a simple yet impactful gesture that made me feel supported and valued by my employer. This is from an employee from India. You can go to the next slide, please. So, that impact when you need something and you readily find it. Wow. So, um, the benefits for the businesses. So most people will be thinking, well, if you were to provide, what will it get if I'm a business? You will be surprised that 87% noticed the initiative had improved employee satisfaction. 75% noticed the initiative had improved public perception of their organization. So it's something that you can boldly display that you're a period positive workplace as one of your benefits when you're advertising to be at your organization. And 91% agreed that it was easy to make period products available in or near the bathrooms at the workplace. Next slide, please. Okay, so an employer testimonial. I hear positive things all the time about providing period products. It is one of the lowest costs, highest impact efforts that we have been able to do to support the people who menstruate in our office. This was from the US. Next slide, please. Okay, so you might be wondering, Is it something new or something that Chibo just came out with? So already there are about 304 certified workplaces worldwide in 50 countries. And I know you want to join in. Next slide, please. So you might be asking, how do we do it? How much will providing period products cost? So you'll be surprised that only 10% of your budget for toilet paper, that was the baseline survey. That's what it concluded, that is your expected spend. And you might be wondering, how do you then supply period products? It is very easy. You can go through maybe your office supplier, maybe who does your waste management. You can go to a wholesale store, or companies that specialize in workplace solutions. It's very easy, and they'll be gladly to assist you. And you might be wondering, maybe are they legal costs, or what is it to be part of this? It is not legally binding. Participation is voluntary, and there are also benefits. You can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so there are already organizations worldwide that have joined in, and you can be part of it. We can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so if you are wondering how you want to be part of it, where do we get this? You can visit the website periodpositiveworkplace.org. Why I was shedding more light is because many times we think period poverty is restricted maybe to schoolgirls only. As an organization, we have initiatives where we go to schools, rural schools, but you'll be surprised that it cuts across status, social class, region. It is everywhere. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be part of the panel talk.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chipo, for those insightful thoughts.
We really appreciate your perspective on this topic. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our second speaker for today's discussion, Ms. Yasa Grace, who will be sharing her thoughts on empowering girls through menstrual health education. Please join me, or before you join me, to welcome Mrs. Yasa Grace. Let me just present her bio to you. Ms. Yasa Grace is a youth leader, a social entrepreneur from Zimbabwe. She actually turned her early challenges into a mission to uplift and empower others. She's the founder of the Bright Girls Movement, an organization that seeks to equip young girls with confidence, life skill, and financial literacy while promoting gender inclusivity. She has received the Girls' Child Award, Empowerment Award, and the Global Aspiration Award, and also created the My Period talk show, which encourages open dialogue on menstrual health and works to eliminate stigma in the community. Please join me to welcome Mrs. Yasa Grace. The floor is all yours, ma'am. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Yes, you're audible now.
Can someone kindly share my screen? Sorry, my slides.
Sure, ma'am. Ms. O, can you? Yes. Ma'am, the slides are visible.
All right. So my name is Yasha Manzo, and I am pleased to be here sharing you on the importance of empowering young girls, even elderly women, through menstrual education. So, firstly, I'm gonna introduce the topic to the panel and to the audience as well. So, for many years, menstruation has been surrounded by silence, shame, and misinformation. Yes, yet it's something that is natural. Why are we not embracing menstruation as a natural process? So today I want us to break that silence because empowering girls through menstrual health education is not just about hygiene. It's about dignity, equality, and opportunity. So the reality of menstrual health across many communities, girls begin menstruating without understanding what's happening to their bodies. Some are told not to cook, not to go to church, or even stay away from the family because they're on their periods. Well, that is the taboos that we're talking about, and that is the taboo that we want to debunk. In some cases, girls use unsafe materials such as rags, leaves, and even cow dung because they don't afford proper sanitary pads or sanitary products. So these challenges, they may seem small, but they have long-term consequences, effects that are very impactful, negative impacting the life of a girl child. So when a girl misses several days of school every month because of her period, she fall behind in her studies, and people tend to say, "Oh, she's not that bright because she's not confident enough to come to school whilst on her period. She doesn't have the sanitary way." And some tend to drop out, and even other men tend to become predators because they know that this lady doesn't know what period is. So they tell them different stories about menstruation, and then they take advantage of these young ladies. This is also happening in my community. So I've seen that when we start explaining that menstruation is a natural biological process, everyone tends to listen. But because we have this long history of backed up with negative stories about menstruation, then nobody wants to talk about periods. So I feel like this education, menstrual health education, is very important because it gives the ladies knowledge, not just knowledge, but it gives them dignity and power to talk about menstruation openly without being judged. Menstruation health education matters because it builds confidence. Girls now understand that menstruation is a natural process and it is not shameful, it's not dirty. It promotes hygiene and health. They learn to care for themselves and preventing infection. Imagine you don't have the information that if you use cotton, you're going to have either cancers or have infections down there. They don't have that knowledge. But now, when we give them the knowledge, now they can take care of themselves. It reduces stigma. Currently, we can't talk about menstruation even in churches and traditional churches because they feel like it's a taboo topic. But when you give us the power and when you give us this knowledge about menstruation, then we can talk about it freely without being stigmatized. It improves school attendance, mainly in schools. Young ladies miss school. So now when you have given them the knowledge and now that you have given them access to sanitary ware, they can come to school during their periods and they don't miss school. So the main idea about empowering girls about menstrual health is because education is vital. Education plays a pivotal role, and now we should include the males in the discussions. We should include them in our conversations because when males understand that this is a natural process, then there's no way that they're gonna make a lady feel ashamed when she messes her clothes. Parents should also talk openly with their children, not just teachers, because now we're giving the burden to the teachers that they should give knowledge to our children about menstruation. What if it starts at home? Because we always say that charity starts at home. So why can't we start also at our schools, at our homes, talking about menstruation before they learn about it in schools? Because now when it comes to schools, it means that they are only learning about the reproductive system. They don't have much knowledge. They're not equipped with all the information that they need about menstruation, taking care of yourself whilst you're on your period, when to remove your pads, which pads are okay for you. How do we break the silence? This is about overcoming taboos. One of the biggest barriers we face is silence. In many families, menstruation is not discussed openly. Some mothers feel too shy or unequipped to talk to their daughters about it. Others may have grown up believing myths that continue to be passed down. Like I was saying, we should normalize the conversations in homes. But silence breeds shame, and shame steals confidence. Imagine going to school and you're very shy, your self-esteem is very low because you have been told that bleeding is just dirty, bleeding is a shameful thing, yet it is a natural process. So for us at My Period talk show and Bright Girls Movement, the My Period talk show encourages both males and females to join the conversations. We even invite males to talk about menstruation. What do they understand about menstruation? They share a lot about it. And now we're normalizing the conversation, having reached over 500 participants by a WhatsApp group whereby we just talk about anything about periods because we believe that leaders lead with pride. Education alone is not enough. We also need access. When I talk about period poverty, I'm saying that it is the lack of access to right and correct information on menstruation, and also the lack of access to affordable menstrual products. So even if a girl understands menstruation perfectly, it doesn't help her if she doesn't afford the sanitary wear. You have the information, but you don't have the products. So how are you going to manage? So that is where innovation and community support come in. With our pet hub, this pet hub is more like a room that is serving as a storage. We keep our sanitary donations in there, and every lady can just come in from the community and get access to free sanitary wear. And those from uptown who can afford can buy for 50 cents, which is half of a dollar. So now when they come in, the 50 cents or the half of a dollar is used to purchase more donations. So the pledge hub that we have introduced is more like a safe space. Young ladies can come in and get trained on life skills as well. They can get trained on how to make reusable pads. They can also get trained on they can also get trained on emotional sorry they can also get trained on life skills that will help them to become financially independent. When we link menstrual education with access and empowerment, we create a complete cycle of change. We kick out period poverty, which is our main goal, to kick out period poverty as well as to create communities that embrace menstruation as a natural process. The access and innovation whilst doing our case study. A few months ago, during one of our outreach programs, we met a 14-year-old girl who used to miss school or a week of school every month because she didn't have pads and she felt embarrassed. After attending our session, she learned how to manage her period and make reusable pad. Now she can talk to her mother openly about menstruation. Today she is a peer educator at her school Wanted Bright Girls movement, teaching other girls what she once feared. This is what menstrual health education does. It transforms shame into strength and silence into leadership. Like I said, our vision at My Period Talk Show is to create communities that embrace menstruation as a natural process. Our vision is also to kick out period poverty, and that is what we are trying to do by having the pet hub and having a talk show. So with this, I say thank you so much to Women Ascension for inviting me to be one of the speakers. And I hope that we continue to embrace menstruation as a natural process. And I hope that we will join hands and make sure that we create a community with change. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Yasa Grace, for that very powerful session. And I'll be handing over to the second moderator for today's session in the name of Madam or Miss Maria Hachette. She's a pharmacist. She's a student, a master's student of pharmacology, currently serving as a lecturer at the Medical Institute of Pakistan. She also has 2 years experience with the World Health Organization as an outreach surveyor. And it's an honor to have her on board. Please, Madam Maria, over to you. Please.
Thank you, Tebo, for introducing me. Hello, everyone. I'm Maria Hayat from Pakistan. As Tebo already introduced me, so let's welcome our third speaker, Miss Melissa Caroline Mukundo. Miss Melissa is a versatile business support specialist with a rich background across industries, including banking, finance, and credit repair. Beyond her professional expertise, Miss Melissa is deeply committed to child welfare, disaster relief, humanitarian work, and women's health advocacy. Her passion lies in addressing period poverty, a global issue that extends beyond lack of access to products, often leading to serious health, social, and economic repercussions. Miss Melissa advocacy work raise awarenesses on how inadequate menstrual care can affect not only women's physical health but also their dignity, mobility, and participation in society. Her voice serves as a powerful reminder that menstrual health is a cornerstone of public health and that eradicating period poverty requires systemic, inclusive action. Her topic today is period poverty and the health complication of it. will unpack the hidden layers of menstrual inequality and its impact on the well-being of women and girls globally. Miss Melissa, the floor is yours now.
Yes, ma'am, your screen is visible. You can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria, for that introduction. I am so honored to be here and to be talking about period poverty. I'm very passionate about period poverty. My name is Melissa, and I am from Zimbabwe. I'm very passionate about women's health, and I often volunteer with a soup kitchen local to my church. And oftentimes I see women and young girls who are on the streets who do not have access at all to sanitary wear and even water or facilities to bathe during this particular time. I myself was one of the few, maybe part of a collective of women or young girls who started their period very early. I was in primary school, I was in grade 6, and we were already going through a tough time at home. And I did find myself starting my period. There was no money to access sanitary pads, tampons, or anything of that sort. So I had to resort to using clothes, like old clothes, tear them up, and make them to something that could possibly, help me during my menstruation. It was not something that was easy. I was way too young to be experiencing such a situation where you were using cloths that when you came back home from school, which is also something that is not healthy, you had to rinse that particular cloth, get as much blood out of it, and hanging out to dry and use it for tomorrow or discard it only and after you wash it. So at that particular time, that's when I realized that this could not be something that should be normalized at all. We should move away from young girls who are just starting out, who are still figuring out what their body and what exactly is happening to them, to be going through a fact that they have to tear clothes and use them every single month, right? And it wasn't just my story, it was stories from a lot of people. And over the years, it is something that has become very personal to me. And when I do get a chance at the soup kitchen, I make sure that I try to donate as many pads as I can so that anyone who needs them should be able to get them. The fact that we have to use different methods for us to be able to go through a cycle, maybe using cloths. Some girls in the rural areas go as far as using bark just to make sure that they don't free bleed. It's something that raises so many health concerns, and it's very, very worrying. If period poverty should be, and actually should be addressed directly, it is not a financial issue. It's an issue of dignity, health, safety, and equal opportunity. You find that most women are not able to afford pads, in as much as the previous presenter spoke about a pack of pads going for 50 cents or $1, right? You'd find some women, some girls cannot afford that 50 cents to $1 every single month. And we need to make sure that there's accessibility to free sanitary wear to anyone that needs them. There's also limited access to water, clean water, and private sanitation facilities, and how to also dispose of sanitary wear after we have used them. There's a lack of menstrual education between both girls and boys, more particularly on girls, because there's a shameful type of environment when it comes to periods. Just a few days ago, I was on TikTok and I was watching a certain mother who was shaming her child on camera that she is in, I think she was in 10th grade or she was 10 years old, and she was saying, why are girls getting their periods this young, right? It's the body, it's the biology. She can't help it, right? So there's a lack of education that is being passed over and over to generations. Instead of mothers and maybe peer educators or teachers sitting down with girls and explaining to them that this is normal, it is okay, there's nothing wrong with you, even if you get your period early, it is fine. So there's a lack of education there that needs to be tackled by the powers that be, who are able to sit with girls and boys so that they also understand what exactly is going on. The cultural norms that discourage open discussion about menstruation. The previous presenter also spoke about women not being told that they can't cook. There's a particular folktale in our culture that you can't get into the garden, you can't pick chili or habanero when you're on your period because it's going to dry up the plant, right? Which is pseudoscience. It doesn't work like that. But we often hear it being passed down generations and generations. So our cultures and the things that we believe in often hinder us from moving forward and making sure that everyone has an opportunity to talk freely and embrace menstruation as something that comes naturally and not a punishment on young girls and women. 72% of girls in Zimbabwe cannot afford sanitary wear. 62% miss school every single month due to lack of menstrual products. Imagine if every single month you miss 4 days of school. That is a lot to set you back, especially if you're an average student, right? So this is something that needs to be tackled and it needs to be addressed as something that is actually really, really serious. There's often a weight of stigma, like I did mention before, where people don't want to talk about it. It should be at the back of the mind. We should just know that the young girl in our family just got her period. No one needs to actually openly discuss it. From the mom, the dad, the parents, the guardians, whoever is around, no one wants to talk about it. People just throw a pack of pads to the young girl and say, you know what, deal with it. No one talks about the pain, the menstrual pain, the cramps. No one talks about the blood clots. No one talks about how to actually put on the pad. There's so much stigma there. And if the parent figure or the family cannot address that, we might at least maybe hope that the school structure, maybe the teacher, the home economics teacher is able to address it and sit down with the girls and say, you know what, girls, you're here at school. Let's talk about something really serious. Let's talk about periods. You know, some of us have gotten them, some of us haven't gotten them. It's not a shame to have gotten them. It's not a shame that you haven't gotten them, right? But in the moment, what can we do to make sure that the stigma moves away? Usually stigma comes from fear. When people don't understand something, it becomes stigmatized. So we need to make sure that we don't stigmatize people, cause fear, cause emotional damage. It takes a toll on young women who are still trying to figure out what exactly is going on. And this is also something that the young girl carries as they get into adulthood. They hide. We see that women at work can't even ask for time off at work to say, you know what, I need a few days or a day or two just to collect myself. My period is heavy, or I have PMS, or I'm going through, a lot of things because of periods. As anyone here, all the women here will tell you, you never actually get used to getting your period every single month. You can only imagine the impact that has on a young girl who's just gotten her period for the first time. So we need to make sure that our parents, the parent structure, their household, are able to start to talk openly about periods with their children, with their nieces, at church, at school, at home. This is something that should be able to be discussed with no stigma or fear or embarrassment. boys and men should also become actively informed and become supporters rather than observers, right? If someone sees that a classmate, their sister, their brother, their niece is not feeling too good, right? They should be able to know the best things that they need. Maybe they need a cup of spearmint tea, maybe they need some ibuprofen, they need different things. Boys and men should be able to come to the table and help as much as they can, because they are also very knowledgeable about what exactly is going on. And also, girls should also be able to be equipped, fully equipped, to know when their period is coming and what to do when their period gets there, right? So this means also carrying like maybe 2 pads or 1 pad every single day in your backpack, in your handbag when you're going to school. If you can, if there's a pad bin at your workplace, at your school, you should be able to know when and how you can access those things in the event that your period comes unexpected, right? Which also means the schools also need to create policies and systems that reduce absenteeism by creating period bins, right? The previous speaker spoke about people having access to come to their offices, to learn about periods, to get a pack of pads if need be, right? So I'm thinking the schools need to also do the same. If there's a situation where someone needs a pad, they should know that they can go to the office or they can go to the home economics teacher, and they should be able to access, maybe just go to the bathroom. They should be able to access those pads, right? The only thing that can help us in terms of making sure that this is accessible is making sure that there is no paid tax. We need to make sure that there's sanitary way is not taxed, people can get it for free, and those that can donations should be able to donate a pad or 2. 1 pad, 1 pack of pads can go a very long way. Right. So if that is not tackled, we see a lot of repeated absenteeism that leads to learning gaps, girls falling behind. They fall behind because they're missing lessons. And like I said, if you're an average student, missing 4 days every single month for a whole year will lead to you falling behind by a whole month or 2, which is not something that is very wise. Emotional distress also undermines concentration and participation in class. I often get PMS, and I'm an adult, and it takes a toll on my work. I can only imagine a young lady who's in class who's trying to concentrate, but so many emotions are going through her mind. She feels different. She feels weird. She can't explain it. She can't put it to words, right? There needs to be emotional support, right? And which is why I don't know if we still have home economics teachers in schools. I might be showing my age right now, but we used to have home economics teachers. They would teach us to cook. They would talk about periods and how to bath and all of that. We should also lay emphasis on the importance of such teachers in our environments, right? And even in clinics around, satellite clinics around, or local clinics in our neighborhoods, they should also have just, a Saturday where they say, invite all the young ladies who are in puberty, teenagers, come, let's sit down, come, let's talk, right? Because they are more equipped, because they are very learned, they've learned the cycles, and they know exactly what is going on with the woman's body. So they'll be better equipped to talk about it. So it's an issue of access and making sure that the education and the support is given continuously, right? We need to then talk about local pad distributions and drives. If anyone is willing, anyone wants, do your part as an individual without actually waiting to garner a lot of support from so many different people. Do your part. If you're going to send 2 packs of pads, get a carton of pads from your local distributor and just donate them to your nearest, maybe children's home, orphanage, church, soup kitchen, school. Start maybe from the school that you went to, start a pad bin at your school, the one that you went to, right? And make sure that you constantly, if you can, encourage other people to donate, other alumni to donate at your school. Talk about menstruation and what that entails to men and to boys and men. There's an issue of, if we don't talk about menstruation, a young lady starts to menstruate, she's already seeing a young man at school. and she doesn't know the implications of actually getting her period. They later become intimate. She becomes pregnant. Both of them are kind of clueless of how this happened. They thought they were having harmless fun. It's very important that we emphasize what menstruation means to the girl and to the boy, because we can't stop young men and young women from dating. We might as well educate them, right? And we need to also talk about the production of reusable pads. We have seen a lot of reusable pads being distributed. They're not as many as they should, right? They're reusable, and some girls get so heavy periods that can run from day 1 to day 7. And someone might need those 7 reusable pads because they might need to change 2 every single day. We need more of the reusable pads. We need more of the pad drives. The government in Zimbabwe has allocated about 3.5 million US dollars for sanitary wear for schoolgirls in the 2025 budget. We are still to see that being distributed, and we are very glad that the government did see the importance of removing pink tax and actually donating towards that. So this is something that I would say is a very good stride in terms of just making sure that the girls don't fall behind, making sure that anyone who needs anything is able to get it. I am hopeful that this should be able to propel us to sort of like eradicate period poverty as it persists, and the silence should end, and the stigmatization of periods and young women getting periods as early as 5th grade should not come as a surprise, because the world has changed, the world evolves, and we should also evolve with the way that we think and the way that we approach menstruation and periods when it comes to women. This is all that I had for you today, and if anyone wants to donate to the soup kitchen that we have, it's the Methodist Trinity soup kitchen in Harare. And if anyone wants to donate pads, I am glad to be someone who will be able to take that from you and give to people who are in need of them. Thank you so much, Maria, and thank you so much for the team.
Thank you, ma'am, for that enlightening and thought-provoking presentation. Your insight have truly deepened our understanding of how menstrual health and intersect with dignity, access, and overall well-being. Now, as we continue this important conversation, I am delighted to introduce our next speaker, Miss Ravarache Miti. She is a certified transformation life coach, public speaker, youth advocate, and social entrepreneur whose work embodies purpose and empowerment. A TED speaker and founder of Youth Vibe Africa, she champions youth empowerment by providing platforms where young people can express their ideas, share their stories, and drive change in their community. So, Miss Ravarachi is also the host of the podcast Seasoned Insights, which celebrate women voices and perspective on gender equality, leadership, and social progress. Her advocacy for civil rights and menstrual health awareness is both personal and passionate. She worked to normalize menstruation as a natural biological process that should be understood, respected, and openly discussed. A nominee for the Zimbabwe Women in Business Award, Ms. Ravarache continued to inspire with her initiative. The Chidiazi reusable pad, designed to promote sustainability, accessibility, and dignity in menstrual health care. Please join me in warmly welcoming Ms. Ravarache Miti.
Thank you so much, and greetings from the motherland, Zimbabwe. You know what? Sometimes when you are introduced, you wonder if it is really you that is being spoken of. I actually love my profile. Thank you so much for reading it out well. I would like to first and foremost applaud the gentleman in this conversation, to simply say thank you so much for being part of us, being the he for she's when it comes to this matter of menstrual health. So today I'm just going to be storytelling you in terms of the journey of menstrual health, giving you a typical and practical example of the Chiedza restoration, the Chiedza reusable pad that I was part of in 2017. So all along, I was actually an advocate for SRHR, which is actually sexual reproductive health rights, focusing on youth advocacy, being the voice of the voiceless. But it was until this particular woman was like, Ruba, are you aware that there's a sentiment advocacy issue that really matters, and it's called menstrual health? It was a surprise to me, and I didn't know that there are people or individuals who can talk about menstrual health. So I was really intrigued, fascinated, and my curiosity just rose to simply say, wow, I am engaged and I want to know all about it. Immediately, I was actually sponsored to attend the Society for Menstrual Health research cycle in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. And to my biggest surprise, I didn't know that there are international people, globally people discussing about menstrual health from back in time, talk about the feminist movement, talk about the products, talk about the health itself. And they were actually celebrating their 40th anniversary in 2017. So it was really an eye-opening. And from that particular moment, I was like, when I go back home, the first thing that I would do is to share the knowledge, is to share what I've learned, and to actually impact communities. That's when we had to talk and make sure that Chiedza was actually known in Zimbabwe. So Chiedza reusable sanitary pads were actually the first one to be standardized in Zimbabwe by the Standard Association of Zimbabwe. And I was actually privileged to be part of the whole process. So the Chiedza reusable sanitary pads were made affordable from cloth pads, made with love from the individuals in the community of Manicaland right here in Zimbabwe. They were actually made to be lightweight, reusable, and very affordable for at least 80 cents United States dollars. They were made to work in a way that each fabric was washable and each lady had at least soap to actually wash it. It could be sanitized as well as durable and affordable to last for 18 months. And over the years, the impact was that it kept girls in school, especially around Zimbabwe. So by providing an affordable and reusable alternative disposable pads, the pads prevented girls from missing school due to the lack of menstrual hygiene products. And this has been something that has been alluded by my sisters over and over again. Thank you to Chipo, Nyasha, as well as Melissa. And by just reducing the cost and giving women opportunities to choose from a variety, made me realize that this is important. It could be women in the urban area, it could be women in the peri-urban area, it could be women in the rural areas, be it young girls or even young women. By just simply having a variety, made women to actually choose what they want. And up to now, women can actually choose the sanitary product that they want. It could be the menstrual cups, it could be the reusable pads, it could be the tampons, it could be the disposable pads. But above all, the impact actually went in a discreet and convenient way. The lightweight of it and the design made it easier to wash and dry, and also having extra packages. So I am glad to share all about the Chiedza Community Welfare Trust. You can actually Google and see the documented video that was done pertaining to how each and every pad was actually made with love. So continuing with my story and just highlighting on the Chiedza community, I see that it is also important that organizations come together, work together, collaborate, and impact. In as much as we have so many people who are now talking about menstrual health, it is important that we continue to collaborate and impact communities, because it's not each and every girl that is still able to afford the menstrual products. The other issue is that we need to continue to cement on the SDGs that we have, raising awareness in every way we can. For me, I had to come back home, make sure that I was on every TV show, made sure that I was on a radio show, made sure that I was in the communities, approaching organizations like the Young Women Christian Association, as well as the Young Men Christian Association. And we made it so intentional that we were going to the underprivileged communities sharing the pads, sewing them even by the hand needle. It was such an experience to the extent that at times we do not only need to be advocates who speak on behalf of others, but to be the implementers, to be the examples of individuals who can actually make the pads and actually distribute and give them to the underprivileged. The other thing overall that I've learned over the years, in as much as I had tried to run away from this whole civil society thing and tell myself that I'm now in the corporate field, I found myself again in the menstrual sector, receiving an award this year, which is such an honor. And now today I'm actually speaking under Women Ascension, making me realize that the issue never ends, whether you like it or not. You will always be an advocate. Once an advocate, always an advocate. Once an ambassador, always an ambassador for that issue that you are concerned with. So we continue to talk about the reusable pad in many places. And up to now, the Chieza reusable pad has become a national flag where it's distributed by different companies as well as distributed by Chieza. The last thing that I want to highlight in terms of just sharing the story or the journey of the menstrual health, I was glad that UNFPA, our regional UNFPA, then came to make sure that all voices were put under one flag. And it birthed the UNFPA regional menstrual hygiene cycle or community, which was also interesting because we now get to see people receiving awards, getting commemorations, acknowledgements, meaning to say that all the unsung heroes are then recognized when it comes to such platforms where a specific UN agency is looking into this. We can never talk about menstrual health without talking about the wash, making sure that there is accessibility to water, there's accessibility to even Vaseline, accessibility to even the pants themselves. Allow me then to share what Chieza did with Restoration Hem, an organization again in Zimbabwe, but supported from the USA, whereby they go in the outskirts of Zimbabwe, the reserves, where most people forget the women that are there. They donate the sanitary pads, which are reusable, as well as the pants for the young girls. And each pack comes with 5 pants for at least a girl to change Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday within the week of the days. So these are some of the things that I would really like to share with you in terms of Chieza reusable pad. Some of us can actually donate the cups. We also need to really understand and research to what people really want. Because oftentimes we then assume that people just need reusable pads, whereas sometimes one individual might be comfortable with what? With a menstrual cup, and some who be comfortable with tampons. So this is a call to each and every one of you to simply say, when we donate sanitary wear, let's do our proper research and give the young girls or the young women something that is comfortable with them, not just out of pity or not just out of the charity thinking of doing things. Sometimes we really need to sit down with the community and listen to what they really want, whilst exposing them to information that stimulates their knowledge base. So at this time of the moment again, I would like to share with you that the outcomes of the work that we are doing is really important. We should never despise what we are doing, the talking sessions that we have, the indabas that we have, the contributions and the outreach that we do in our communities. We should never despise them because already we are creating the journey. And in so doing, we are making sure that no one is left behind. So each year, when it comes to May, ask yourself, what is it that you're doing on the 28th of May, where we celebrate World Hygiene Day? Some tend to forget, some tend to do the research part, which we acknowledge. But each year beyond the 28th of May, what else are we doing as advocates to make sure that we impact our communities? And as advocates, I plead with you, let's make sure that we understand our communities. Let's listen to what they want. And at times I was refrained from referring to say they. Why not use we? Because we are part of it. So by making sure that we are part of it, we speak with one unified voice, and the impact is very tremendous. So it doesn't matter whether you are a lead in one organization, because this is something that I've also seen as advocates. Let me address it because this is an open page whereby we have one person leading an organization and think they are doing it all by themselves. You approach them for collaboration and they don't want collaboration just because they want their name to be known. We need to refrain from that as advocates. As advocates, we definitely need to work together, because the work that we are doing is not to outshine anyone, but to make sure that we impact the communities that we have. And that's why I like the fact that when you are an unsung hero, the impact is always spoken by the people. And when the people speak, definitely your heroism is shown. So I'd really like to thank you all for being the advocates for the voiceless, and continuing to support all those of us who are talking about menstrual health, because menstrual health absolutely matters. Thank you, and I wish you a good day.
Much, ma'am, for such an enlightening session. And sorry, we will not be taking any question today because of less time. And I would like to thank all of our incredible speakers for the insight, vulnerability, and passion shared here today. From Chipo, call to create period positive space and challenge stigma with innovation, to Naisha Grace, empowering message on education and confidence for young girls. We have been reminded that menstrual health is both a personal and societal issue, one that demands awareness, compassion, and action. We also extend our deepest appreciation to Miss Melissa Caroline, who illuminated the realities of period poverty and its health implications, reminding us that access to menstrual care is a matter of human dignity and equity. And to Ruvarache, who closed our panel with a powerful reflection on sustainability and empowerment through Chiedza reusable pad. Thank you for showing us that solution can be both practical and transformative when rooted in purpose. Each of these voices has contributed to dismantling silence, and together they have shown us what inclusive leadership look like. Leadership grounded in empathy, knowledge, and service. On behalf of Women Ascension, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our leadership team, Dr. Maheen Amjad, Miss Kanvi, and Miss Zoha, whose vision and mentorship continue to guide and inspire this global movement. Their commitment to fostering spaces of dialogue, empowerment, and equity allows initiative like this panel, Beyond Silence Conversation on Menstruation, to thrive and make a lasting impact. As we close, let us carry forward the lessons shared today, that menstrual health is not a woman issue alone. It is a human issue. It speaks to access, justice, education, and leadership. Thank you all for being part of this powerful dialogue. Let's continue to lead, to listen, and to build beyond silence. Thank you, everybody.
So very special thank to all the speaker for sparing their time to make this valuable message conveyed in communities across the world. And on behalf of Women Ascension and Dr. Mahim and Miss Tahmina, who is a executive assistant of this organization, without whom this initiative would not have been started. Thank you a lot to them. And thank you to all the team members, the moderators, as well as the participants. And hope this initiative which we have taken, the information conveyed will be taken into implementation, and there will be a change in the world. Thank you a lot, and we will be joining soon with another session, and just thanks a lot. The session is officially over. The room is open to leave. Thank you a lot.